Hey folks, it is the Nutty Knife Guy. Weather's miserable, so I'm going to stay inside today and not do the war post. And just kind of, I guess you would call this do a rant. And it's another rant along the lines of the whole knife snob issue. I've done a video about Are You a Knife Snob? And I've done crappy knives that I still like. And I've done knives I wish I hadn't bought. Well, this is along the same lines. But in this one, I'm going to talk about why it's okay to like crappy knives. I'm standing here by my collection. You can't see most of it because of the camera angle and framing and all of that. But I'm going to go through and just show you some knives that are crappy. I'll admit they're crappy, and I still like them. And it's okay to like them. And how this came about is that I was prowling through my local secondhand shop looking for stuff worthy of collection. And by worthy, I mean stuff that I like the look of, that I like the feel of, right? And there's a young gentleman that I know of, much younger than me, in the 20-year-old range, and he's just starting out in the knife collecting hobby, and he was looking at a knife by the Survivor brand. The Survivor brand is a Chinese brand and probably comes from the same factories as Frost Cutlery and M-Tech and Armory Replicas and all this other stuff. And he got kind of embarrassed that I caught him looking at one of these knives because he knew I was the Nutty Knife Guy, and was like, well, I just like the look of it. I thought I'd look. I don't know if I was really going to buy it. I said, I said, do you like the look of it? If you like the look of it and you want to buy it, buy it. Collecting it, now for some people, collecting is about the prestige of it. Right? Look at my gazillion-dollar Microtech. Look at my gazillion-dollar Benchmade. But it doesn't have to be that way. If that's the way it is with you, that's fine. I'm not knocking you. But I buy knives based on how much fun they're going to be, how much joy they bring to my life. And I have a lot of knives that I like a great deal that are admittedly crappy by any objective standard. I'm going to show you a few of them and tell you why I still like them and why it's okay to like them. Okay, now I gotta find it. Where is it? It's the first one I want to show you. Where'd it go? There we go. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. This is a cheap Japanese knockoff of the classic Air Force survival knife, currently made, I believe, by Ontario Knife Company. This may be the most precious knife to me in my collection. Why? Because on my 13th birthday, my mom let me pick this out, and this is the first fixed blade knife I ever owned. My dad died when I was young, so there wasn't anybody that was going to buy me knives. Mom let me pick this out. Mystery steel, not the greatest construction. I'm going to take the pommel off, and you can see it's got a welded tang to a bolt. But this actually served me well on many excursions into the wilderness of Tuscarawas County, Ohio. And like I said, I'm 53 years old. I've had this since I was 13. By any objective standards, this is not a good knife. Don't know what kind of steel it is, not the best construction method, but I love it. And I got a couple others here. Hopefully I won't have to pause it to find them. Here we go. Now, one of these are combat ready and one of these is Wartech brand, but you can see the design philosophy is very similar, so much so that they could be a set. These came from the same factory in China, I'm sure, and they're crappy knives. You can go online and find these things where they have broken because they have a tang that only goes down to about here. Can't admit, steel is scrappy. Not good knives. Now this one I tested at the War Post and it worked, but and I mean it passed that test very quickly, but because I know about the construction, I know this is a crappy knife, but it's also one of my favorites to play with. It's one of my favorite fidget knives. I love the way it looks. It feels great in the hand. Right? Can I rely on it to really do anything but slice air? No. But I still like it, and that's okay. And if you have a crappy knife out there, it's okay. Same thing, for all the same reasons. I've got another one of this very design philosophy coming. It should be here around Wednesday. Right? Just because I really like the way the handle feels. I wish they would do this with a true exposed tang and make it out of at least 440C steel. Probably not going to happen though. Now, and the thing is this. There are people out there, let's say I was the young man that I was talking about that was looking at that Survivor. If I posted this on some blade forums or on Facebook groups related to knives, and hey, I'm new to the hobby, look what I just got, isn't it cool? Most people would say, well, yeah, that's a nice looking knife, you know, welcome to the group, welcome to the hobby, you're a brother of the blade. But there would be at least one. Why are you wasting your money on that piece of shit? It's stupid. Why don't you get a Benchmade? Why don't you get a Spyderco? Yeah. Why are you buying that Chinese shit? Okay. Why did he buy it? Because he liked it. And until you opened your mouth, he had no reason not to like it. Now, is it okay to go on there and say, yeah, you know, that's a nice looking knife and I'm glad to see you in the hobby, but, you know, here are some reasons that you might not want to try and use it too hard, right? Or you can spend a little bit more money and get something better. You can educate, but you don't have to belittle. And that's what drives me crazy. I know I've done a video about this before, but I don't think it can be said enough. Now, having said all of that, I have a knife here. That's a crappy knife. And I have issue, even though I love this knife as a fidget knife and a kind of a practice knife, it looks really cool. My problem with this knife is that, in my opinion, and I can't even remember the name of this, it was like an SS4, an SSS company brand, but it's a Chinese knife. But in my opinion, it was obviously intended to look like something out of the Ontario SP series, which are excellent knives. Okay, let me find one of my Ontarios. Here's my Ontario SP6. Excellent knife, 1095 steel, nice, I don't know, I'm not sure what the handle is made out of, but this nice rubbery stuff. I love the grips on Ontario knives, right? Very expensive knife. Ontario has a very good reputation. But on cursory inspection, this could be mistaken for something from the Ontario SP series. But on first inspection, from a distance. I hope I didn't say on close inspection before. Might have. I misspoke. If I did, I misspoke. Okay. Now when I got this is a sub $15 knife. And I still like it. It's a nice little dagger. But I do take issue with the idea that this is definitely deliberately designed to look like in Ontario. Now, I took this knife apart when I first got it, and it was very easy. All you have to unscrew the pommel, and the handle will slide right off. And I wish I hadn't done it, because I would have taken it apart for you here, but it bugged me, so I used some industrial epoxy to attach the handle to the threads, because the tang only goes to about here, and then it's threaded, and then you screw this on, and this is plastic. But having it constructed that way bugged me, so I used industrial adhesive to attach the handle and Loctite the threads on this. But see, this is actually, even though it's deceptive, and that's what really bugs me about it, this is well executed crappy. And what I mean by that is that the grinds are fairly even, the black coating is well done, and I wish I wouldn't have Loctited this and all that, because where the bolt is welded to the tang, the welds are actually good. They were ground off, so they were flush. There wasn't any little metal, sharp metal tabs sticking out of it. The weld was strong, which is rare in something that's constructed this way. Usually it's crappy welds. Still a crappy knife, and it's bad because it's deceptive, because it's made to look like something it's not. But it's like it. I like it. It's fun. And you can have a knife just because you like the way it looks, because it's fun, because maybe it's somewhat unique. Actually, unique is unique. You can't really modify it. It can't be somewhat unique. It can't be very unique. If it's unique, it's just unique. But that's all about etymology. But anyway, but if it's just something that's going to look good in your collection, or something that's fun, it's okay to have that in a collection, and you don't have to apologize for it. You don't have to justify it to anybody. And that's my thing. That poor kid, he was like, oh no, somebody else that knows about knives has seen me looking at a Survivor. So what? Is the knife cool? Will it make you happy when you're sitting around at home fidgeting it? Will it peel an apple? It doesn't have to be a fantastic brand, or a prestige brand, I call them, for you to like it, and for you to admit you like it. You shouldn't have to. So for all the people that do like to say, look at my Microtech, look at my $200 Spyderco, or whatever. Great. You love it. You want to tell people how much, but don't be a little bit people that either will not pay that much for a knife, cannot pay that much for a knife, and will go and buy something cheaper that makes them happy. Like I said, I have ranted about this before. I will probably rant about it again. But we want to bring more people into the hobby. There are states out there that have some really restrictive knife laws. The UK is crazy about their knife laws. And the Second Amendment in my country, in the United States, is under constant threat. And if they get and once they start getting people used to having guns regulated, they'll come for the knives too. They already have. There's some places you can't have gravity knives. Ohio just did a massive knife reform back in April of 2021, that brought common sense to the law. But there are still people out there, you can't have gravity knives, they don't know, and they don't really define what a gravity knife is, and everything. We want to bring more people into the hobby because we want more people fighting for the hobby. And if you belittle somebody online or at your knife store, at a gun store, because a lot of gun stores sell knives, and if you belittle people because they buy a Cisco, They buy an MTech. They buy a Survivor. They buy an Armory replica. That doesn't accomplish anything but maybe making you feel a false sense of superiority. Speaking of Armory replica, probably my least favorite knife in my entire collection. $10. I just wanted to see what the Brown tracker. I can't ever remember where it's. I think it's Tom Brown tracker. Right. I just wanted to see what was so big about this particular blade shape, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money for a tops. You can hear the rattle in this one. The scales need tightened up. Right? I'm not apologizing for having this knife. I don't really care for it. If this knife turned up missing under my collection tomorrow, I would be annoyed, but I really wouldn't be upset. But there might be somebody out there that just loves one of these. This little $10 tracker with serious fitting issues. That's okay. If you like it, you like it. And I'm done with the rant. I couldn't get outside today. I hadn't done a video in like 2 weeks because of the holidays. Wanted to get something in. But seriously, guys, you want to build a knife community. You want more brothers and sisters of the blade. You know, we've got the World of Knives on Facebook now for a bunch of some knife tubers that I correspond with regularly. They have somehow made me an administrator, and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do. But I'm going to link that. I'll link that Facebook page in this, right? But community, and we're brothers and sisters of the blade. You don't belittle brothers and sisters of the blade because of what they like. You can educate them and guide them to better knives, but don't berate them, because that just makes you look like an idiot. That means that you're trying to make yourself feel big by making other people feel small. And that makes you an asshole. So with that, I'm going to use the Ontario to send you off. With that, I ask you to draw your knives only in just purpose. Sheathe them only in honor. And to remember that without knives, life would be dull and pointless. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have a mind to. Feed the mighty YouTube algorithm. All hail the algorithm. Right, and I keep forgetting to do this, and I shouldn't. We've got a big problem with veteran and police suicides. Right, so support your veterans. Support your police. I don't care how you do it, right? Myself, when it comes to homeless veterans, I bought this hat from a group called Bondage Breakers that helps my local homeless vets. Okay, be there for them. And with that, I bid you goodbye.